jungle stopped making sound before I saw anything. No birds, no insects, no wind moving through the upper canopy. Just a wall of silence, so complete and so sudden that my body understood it before my brain did. And my body said, "Something is hunting here." I froze on the trail, one boot mid-air, notebook half open in my hand. Then the trees ahead of me exploded. Not fire, not wind. Something massive moving at full speed through dense jungle, snapping branches the thickness of my arm like they were dry paper, and getting closer with every second. The ground shook with each impact. Birds launched from the canopy in every direction, 100 of them, all at once. Like the jungle was throwing everything upward, trying to escape what was moving below. I dove behind a fallen log and pressed flat. The crashing stopped. Silence again. And then, from somewhere very close, maybe 10 feet to my left, I heard the smallest sound in the world. A soft, exhausted whimper. I turned my head slowly. There, wedged between two thick roots at the base of an ancient tree, was Turtwig. Tiny, green, trembling. The small sapling on its head was bent sideways. Its shell was cracked along the left edge, a fresh break, pale and raw against the dark green. One of its front legs was pulled tight against its body, not moving, and the soil beneath it was dark with something I didn't want to look at directly. It was injured, badly. But what stopped my breath entirely was what it was doing. Even now, cracked shell, wounded leg, cornered and shaking, Turtwig was pressed as close to the tree's roots as possible. And beneath those roots, 3 tiny Budu seedlings were growing, fragile, barely an inch tall. And Turtwig's body was positioned between them and the direction the crashing had come from. It wasn't hiding. It was covering them. I had maybe 4 seconds to process this before the jungle broke open again. It came from the right, a Tyranitar, fully grown, moving with the kind of weight that rearranges the landscape around it. It wasn't charging blindly. It was tracking. Its amber eyes swept the clearing in a slow, deliberate arc. And when they landed on Turtwig, it stopped. Turtwig stood up, on 3 legs, the 4th still tucked, still useless, still bleeding. But it stood, stepped forward out from the roots, away from the seedlings, putting itself directly between the Tyranitar and the 3 tiny plants it had just been protecting. I want to be honest with you. A healthy Turtwig against a fully grown Tyranitar is already an impossible fight. A wounded Turtwig, smaller than the Tyranitar's foot, doing it anyway, is something I don't have a clean word for. I do know it made my chest hurt watching it. What happened next lasted less than 2 minutes and felt like an hour. Turtwig opened with a razor leaf, thin green blade spinning outward in a tight arc, fast, precise, aimed directly at the Tyranitar's eyes. Not enough to cause real damage, but enough to make it flinch and lose half a second. That half second mattered. Turtwig moved, faster than I expected on 3 legs, darting left while the Tyranitar swung right and hit it low on the knee joint with a headbutt that rang out like a stone striking stone. The Tyranitar stumbled, just slightly, just enough. Then it recovered. One massive arm swung sideways and caught Turtwig mid-air. A glancing blow, not even a direct hit, and sent it tumbling backward across the clearing, rolling twice, before stopping against a root. The jungle went quiet. Turtwig didn't get up. I was moving before I made any decision to move. I don't know what I thought I was going to do. I'm a journalist, My only weapon was a notebook that was already getting rained on. But I stood up from behind that log, put myself into the open, and made as much noise as a single panicked human being can make. Shouting, waving, throwing a water bottle. The Tyranitar turned and looked at me. There was a long moment, truly one of the longest of my life, where it simply evaluated whether I was worth the effort. Then it turned and walked back into the jungle. Just like that, and the trees swallowed it whole. I reached Turtwig in 4 steps. It was conscious, barely. Its small eyes found my face and stayed there. And I could feel it breathing, shallow, quick, too quick, against my hands when I carefully lifted it. The cracked shell was worse up close. The injured leg was swollen. There was a cut above its left eye from the tumble that was bleeding in a thin, persistent line down its face. And yet, somehow, between my hands, covered in jungle dirt and its own blood, this tiny creature turned its head toward the roots where the 3 Voodoo seedlings were still standing, checking on them. Still. I laughed. I actually laughed. The helpless kind that comes out when something is so absurd and so heartbreaking at the same time that your face doesn't know what else to do. "They're fine," I told it. "You did good." Turtwig looked at me for a moment. Then it sneezed. A tiny, ridiculous sneeze that shook its whole body. And the sapling on its head flopped completely sideways. It blinked, looked up at the sideways sapling, shook its head once, trying to fix it. The sapling flopped the other direction. Another blink. I was still laughing when I started walking out of the jungle. Turtwig tucked carefully against my jacket. One small muddy paw gripping my collar with absolutely everything it had left. At the jungle's edge, I stopped and looked back. The clearing was already beginning to change. The ground around those 3 Voodoo seedlings, where Turtwig had been sitting, was darker than the earth around it. Richer. Still alive when everything nearby was dying. One small creature. Cracked. Bleeding. Exhausted. Still giving. And I looked down at Turtwig. It had fallen asleep against my chest. That ridiculous sideways sapling rising and falling with each breath. One paw still gripping my collar like it had decided I was worth holding on to. I pulled my jacket a little closer around it. "All right," I said quietly to nobody in particular. "Let's get you fixed up."